In this video, I'm going to show you 12 different exercises that you can get a full body routine in only using a cable machine. So if you go to a hotel gym or just a normal gym and all the dumbbells are taken, or you don't have a lot of other equipment, but you do have a cable machine, this is going to be a great video for you to learn how to hit every single muscle group in your body using only cables. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Devin, and I'm a certified personal trainer and strength coach, and I help busy professionals get in shape from anywhere. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. All right, so without further ado, let's jump into the first exercises. All right, so jumping into the routine, we're gonna start with lower body training, and there's two specific exercises that you can do to hit the bulk of your legs. The first one being the squat. Now, this is the cable squat, and so really with these attachments on any of these exercises, it doesn't really matter as long as you get something that's really comfortable. So for this one, I have this kind of row hand grip attachment that you can get right here, but you could use like a rope or, a straight bar or anything like that as well. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna simply have it just like this. So this is kind of like a goblet squat or a front squat. I'm gonna put it up here next to my chest. I don't want it too far out from my body, so the closer the better. And then I don't want to be too far out like this because whenever I squat down, it's gonna bring me forward. So I actually want to be pretty close to this cable stack right here. Now from here, everything else is pretty much the same as like a normal body weight or goblet squat, meaning that my feet are about hip to shoulder width apart. They're slightly pointed out. My chest is up. And then the first movement is my hips go back and then I squat down, get as low as you can, and then come back up. So just like that. So this is a really great exercise for hitting the quads, hitting the glutes, a little bit of the hamstrings, and pretty much everything in between. So that's why I'm choosing this exercise and a lot of these exercises, just so you can get the most bang for your buck. So I don't want to choose too many isolated exercises. If we just have a cable machine and we want to be really efficient with our time, I want to choose something that's big, just like this. We could figure out how to do like leg extensions and stuff like that, but if we can hit multiple muscle groups with one exercise, I almost always want to go for that. Okay, so that targeted the quads. And now the next exercise we're going to do is really going to target the hamstrings. Now there's multiple ways to do this, but it's called a cable RDL or a cable Romanian deadlift. Some people also call them a stiff-legged or straight-legged deadlift as well. Now, there's many ways to do this. You can face out from it. A lot of people do that. I'm going to face this way, but either way, the important thing is you keep the bar close to your body and you don't let it bring you forward. So I'm engaging my back to bring it close like this. Now from here, my feet are hip to shoulder width apart. I have the bar close to me, and then I go down until I can feel like a really big stretch in my hamstrings, and then I come back up. So it looks like that. And so where I'm mostly feeling these is going to be right behind the knees. I can feel a really good stretch in those hamstrings, and I'm engaging my back to keep this from going forward like that. So I'm engaging it just like that, and then I'm going down just like this, right? So that is the cable RDL. Now here's a variation that you can do where you step in from this side and you go down like this. Now this one, you're probably going to feel a really good stretch as well on the hamstrings, but it's just like that. And it's all about pushing those hips back and then coming up, pushing them back, and then coming up just like that. So yeah, on both of these variations, you can feel a really good stretch in those hamstrings. This is a great exercise, not only for the hamstrings, but also for the glutes. So those are my two favorite cable exercises for really targeting the bulk of the legs. Now let's move into the upper body, specifically the upper body pushing muscles. So you'll notice I've changed out my handles here. So I'm going with these kind of handles as compared to the last ones. I think these are probably the best for these exercises. Now, the first exercise we're going to do is a really great one for the shoulders, the triceps, the upper chest. This is known as the cable overhead press. Now, I like to set these up to where when I pull these up and there's tension on them, they're about at my shoulder, neck, head, somewhere around there, wherever you can adjust the cables to be most comfortable for you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out. I'm not going to step out really far, but just a little bit to where they're not racked. So this would be racked whenever they're just relaxed, and I just have them unracked just like that. Now from here, I'm going to have just a slight forward tilt, and then I'm going to press up just like that. So now if you were using dumbbells or free weights, you would actually be pressing straight up in the air. But now since I have cables, I'm going to press just slightly forward whenever I do that. Now, theoretically, I could come back here, and what I could do is take these down just a little bit more. So let's say we take these down 2 notches right here. And I could stand up real straight and do it this way as well. So either way really works. Really just depends on what your goals are. But the important thing is, as you come down and kind of out to right here. I feel a good stretch in my muscles, and then I come up, and then I kind of go in at the top, just like that. And now my elbows and everything are not stretched out like this. They're slightly tucked in here. So just like that. And I can already feel a big burn right there in the shoulders. I don't even have a whole lot of weight on the bar. Now notice when I come down, I'm stretching it out. I'm going down slow and controlled, and then I'm bursting up like that. That's kind of the cadence I like on a lot of these different exercises, is like you feel like you're stretching it on the eccentric portion, and then on the concentric, whenever you're squeezing, that's when you can go just a little bit faster. So that was the cable overhead press. Now I'm going to move these up to somewhere about chest to shoulder height. And we're going to do something called a chest fly, so a cable fly. So this is one of my favorite exercises for really just targeting the chest. And so what that's going to look like is we're going to step out into a big power position. So with the overhead press, we didn't step as far out, but here we're going to step really far out to get a good stretch. And then from here, I have a really good arch in my back, so I don't want to be rounded. I want my chest to be up. And then I'm going to squeeze and bring it forward just like that. Now, if you want to, you could cross over to get an additional squeeze. Not necessary, as long as you're really focusing on that stretch in the back. And even with this light weight, I can feel it really working really well right here. Now, you can adjust the cables to where they're a little higher, and you can come down like at an angle like that, and that's going to hit more of your lower pecs. You can adjust them to where they're lower. You can come up higher, and that's going to hit more of the upper pecs / the front delt. So it really just depends on what area you really want to work. I like it right here and just going straight across. That way I'm kind of just hitting the bulk of the pecs in general. And this is what I find to be a really efficient version of this exercise. So just make sure you're focused on that stretch when doing this, and I think you're going to really like this exercise quite a bit. Now, the last exercise that we have in this push routine right here is for your triceps. So the triceps are the back part of the arm there, and they are considered a pushing muscle because you're pushing away from your body. But if you really want to be technical, you don't have any pushing muscles. You only have pulling muscles. All muscles pull. But just based on the way it looks, we call it a pushing muscle. So right here, this can be adjusted at pretty much a lot of different heights. I'll actually go just a little bit lower for it though, around the torso. And then what I'm going to do is I use this handle. You could use these handles as well, but I'm going to bring this across my body and overhead. And this is going to be my starting position right here. Now my hands are close together and they're right behind my ears. So I have a very acute angle at my elbows. And then from here, I'm going to slightly lean forward, and then I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to extend out and up just like that. And I'm not just extending out from my body, but I'm extending my hands out in a direction apart from one another as well. So it looks like that. And this is a really, really great exercise for targeting those triceps right there. So this is one of my favorites. And a lot of research shows that overhead motions, because they isolate the triceps so much, is just a little bit better than anything that's not overhead. So for instance, another variation or another tricep exercise, this is a little bonus tip for you, would be a tricep pushdown. You've probably seen this if you've been in the gym environment any before, but it looks just like that. Now this one works really, really great too, but for isolation purposes, I would recommend the overhead one over this. But let's just say you wanted to go with this, because it is a little bit easier to set up and everything. With this, you still start with your hands in close, and you start with everything tight and close to your body. You're going to go down and out just like that, right? So I see a lot of people get in and like get their whole body involved and do that kind of stuff. You don't want to do that. You want to just have it totally isolated on those triceps. All right, so those are some great push exercises that you can do on the cable. Now let's jump into the pull exercises that you can do on these cables. All right, so one of my all-time favorite back exercises that you can do on a cable is the face pull / high row. It's a little bit different the way I'd perform it. I perform more of what I call a high row because I keep my elbows tucked in when I do this. I don't kind of flare them out to hit a lot of the rotator cuff muscles. With this, I like to hit the bulk of the upper back. And so what it looks like is I have this somewhere overhead. I could simply go higher if I wanted to, but as long as it's over my head, that's a good place to start. And then from here, I'm getting in a good power position. Now you'll notice this is the same position that I did a lot of the chest pushing exercises in, but now I'm facing the machine because now we're going to do a pull exercise where we're pulling it towards our body. Now from here, what I do is I have my chest out, a good arch in my back. You'll notice that there's a pattern with a lot of these exercises. You arch your back a lot, and that really provides a good squeeze. So now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to relax my shoulders and then round slightly the upper back, and then contract those muscles in the back and draw it in close, just like that. So the full exercise looks something like this. And you should feel that in your rear delts, your right in the middle of the back, the traps, rhomboids, lats, all those sorts of muscles in the upper middle back. So that's why that's one of my favorite exercises that you can do with the cables. Next up, we're going to really hit the arms, specifically the biceps. Now there's a couple of different ways you could do bicep cable curls, but probably the most basic and easiest way is just attach something like this, like a handle. You could also use the rope, you could use normal handles, but this is actually specifically kind of designed for working your biceps. And then from here, it's simply just a bicep curl, just like this. Now, one thing I want to make sure I'm not rocking or anything like that. I want to make sure I'm in a good power position. Notice I keep my arms locked in. They're not flaring out. They're like locked in, not just at my side, but in front of me too. And so that way I can feel a really good squeeze at the top and a good stretch at the bottom. This is an excellent exercise for really getting a good pump in those biceps and really just working those out. Now, the last exercise I want to show you for the pulling motions is for the biceps again, but also for the delts and for the traps. And this is known as a cable upright row. This could be utilized with any different attachment as well. Like I said, all these exercises, you can use whatever attachment is like most comfortable for you. But for me, I really like this one right here. It's in the same setup, so you could superset this with the cable curl if you wanted to. And then I'm going to get really close to it. I don't want to be super far away. I want to be pretty close because I want the angle to be almost straight down. And if your cable attachment could go all the way down to the ground, you could probably get even closer. So what it's going to look like is I'm going to drive my elbows up just like this. And you'll notice my elbows are coming forward too. They're not like beside me. They're actually forward. And this allows me to really get a little bit higher, really hit those delts a little bit more and those traps a little bit more. So this is an excellent exercise for really hitting that shelf at the top of your body right up through here, and then also with the biceps as well. So definitely give those cable upright rows a shot if you've never tried them before. Now those were the pulling motions, but I still want to try to get a little bit more shoulder work involved because that's the most aesthetic muscle in your body other than maybe your abs or something like that. So let's go ahead and target the shoulders with these next exercises. All right, so with those upright rows, we really targeted the lateral delts, which is probably the one you should be targeting the most because you don't really hit those in a lot of other exercises. Like in your pressing motions, you're going to hit a lot of the front delts. In your pulling motion, you'll hit a lot of the rear delts. But what if you did want to get a little bit of extra work on the rear delts to make them pop a little bit more? Well, this is one of the best exercises to really do that, and this is called the cable reverse fly. Now, you could do this single arm, you could do it double arm, but in this video, I'm going to stick with the double arm because it's the most efficient way to do it. And so what you're going to do is I don't know if you saw that, but I twisted this just like that so I could grab the whole thing. And what I'm going to do is cross my hands over just like this. And you'll notice the cables are a little bit higher than my head. And then I'm going to face the cable machine and get in that good power position again. And then from there, I'm going to have my arms crossed over, and then I'm simply going to pull them apart just like that. And now when I pull it apart, I actually go down at the same time. So you see my hand trajectory is not just out, but it's also down. So I start up here at about head level, I finish at about torso level. So a few good reps would look something like this. So this is an excellent exercise for really targeting that rear delt, and that's right in there. And so that really helps, like whenever you just want your shoulders to pop, you want those big boulder shoulders. It's really important to kind of hit that rear delt as well, because it's a big majority of the muscle as well. As long as you're hitting that and then hitting the side delt as well, I think those shoulders are really going to pop and they're going to look better and more aesthetic through shirts and stuff like that. So speaking of hitting the side delt, this is perhaps my favorite exercise for the lateral delt. And this is one that I literally just recently learned, probably like 4 or 5 months ago. And I've been spamming these. I love them. And if you've never tried these before, definitely make sure to give them a shot. So what this is it's a cable lateral raise, but most of the time when people do them, they do them from a low position and they come up. Well, with this one, we're going to be focused mostly on the stretch element of the lift. So to do that, we need our hand to be starting at a 90-degree angle with the cable. And what I do is I have it up high, so about chest to head level or so. And then from there, what I like to do personally is I like to twist that so I have a good little loop right there. And I put my hand in there. So what that does is actually takes off a lot of tension on the elbow. If you suffer from elbow tendonitis or anything like that, this will really help out significantly with that. Now from here, what I do is I step out with my arms stretched across my body. I have tension right there. There's about a 90-degree angle right there between these two. I can feel a good stretch already. Now this is going to be good for the rear delts as well too. You could theoretically do it behind you as well. I've done it like that before. It's a little more uncomfortable, but this feels pretty comfortable in front like this. So what it looks like is I'm not even going up really high like I normally would. I'm just going to go to like right there. So I'm coming across my body. I'm working it through the stretched range of motion. And I can really feel that just like that right there. I can already feel the delts working tremendously. So that's why this is one of my favorite delt exercises, to really get those boulder shoulders, to really make them pop. And if you've never tried this before, I definitely encourage you. All of the different variations of the lateral raises are really good, but this is my favorite. So definitely give it a shot. All right, so that was all upper body and lower body except for one area, and that's the core. So let's finish this routine with 2 of my favorite core exercises using cables. All right, so when working your abs, you don't have to do anything too fancy. My favorite ab exercises of all time are the crunches and the reverse crunches. But how do you use the cable machine to really work on that so that you can overload the abs? And when you overload, that just simply means adding a little bit more weight than you're used to, and that will really help them to grow and pop. So the first way is through the crunch, specifically the cable crunch. Now what you're going to do is set it up pretty high, and with this, because your body weight is counterbalancing it, you need a little bit of extra weight on there. So what it looks like is I have my knees on a pad here. I'm a little bit out from the machine right here, but what you'll notice is I'll pull it in close to my head, and then from there, it'll basically look like I'm doing a crunch like I would be on the ground, except I'm now vertical instead of horizontal. So what it kind of looks like is something like this. So I have it close to my head. I have a really good arch in my back. That's how my abs stretch. And then from there, crunching down, breathing out. Breathing in, crunching down, breathing out. And you'll notice there's not a whole lot of body movement other than my torso rounding and arching. So it's arching and then rounding. So a lot of people mess these up because when they do it, they'll have their arms up here and they'll just be kind of like that. It'll be like a hip exercise, or they'll have a lot of hip motion where they do this and they sit back. You'll notice my legs when I was doing those don't move a whole lot. It's mostly, like I said, my torso, because the abs, think about them being like a rubber band, you know, and so you want to stretch them out, crunch them, stretch them out. Now, that was for targeting the whole rectus abdominis, this whole ab right here, or abs, however you want to call it. But mostly focusing on the upper portion of the abs. Now we really want to focus on the lower portion of the abs with this cable variation of a reverse crunch. So the way that you would do the reverse crunch is you would actually get these kind of ankle wraps right here. A lot of people use them for like on the cables to do like glute exercises, like glute kickbacks and stuff like that. For this, I'm going to just have them on here. I have this all the way down to the bottom, and then I have a mat here that I'm laying on. And from there, it's like you do basically a variation of the reverse crunch, in which you just really hyper focus on the lower abs. And so what that's going to look like is something like this. Now I have my hands under my butt, kind of a diamond shape. Now that they're not necessarily touching, I like to actually have them spread out just a little bit. From there, my knees and my feet are close together, and this is the starting position. And just like this, I can already feel my abs working because they're keeping my legs from going out like that, right? So it's a lot of hip flexors as well. But what the actual motion looks like is this. And you'll notice whenever I come up, I'm actually kind of bringing my butt up off the ground as well. So that is a reverse crunch with the cables. It's a phenomenal exercise. You could tell it's already like working on me, and I just did a few reps, but it's a phenomenal exercise for really targeting those lower abs. Definitely give them a shot. There's a lot of different variations that you could do with these. You could do them straight leg if you want to, but I think this is a good starting point. And then also, this cable rack doesn't go all the way down to the ground, but the lower you can get it, the better, because instead of having your legs targeted, like the cable targeted straight out, if you can have them targeted down a little bit, angled down just a bit, that would be just a little bit better as well. But overall, that's how you would do those. And that actually concludes our tutorial on 12 different exercises that you could do with the cable machine. Okay, so those were 12 of my favorite cable exercises to really hit every part of the body. If you only have a cable stack, these are the only exercises that you need to get a really excellent full body routine in. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below. And if you're interested in a free travel fitness guide to learn how to work out from anywhere, then make sure to check that out in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.